You need to respect the humanity of these women, whether you are Team Clark or Team Reese, although you can certainly be both, right? The aftermath, the fact that the WNBA has to put out a statement because of racist comments and unsafe conditions toward Angel Reese. Like, I just want people to be mindful that whether you like it or not, anytime something happens with the two of them, one is automatically put as a victim and one is automatically put as someone who needs to be saved.
A lot of people project their own subjective feelings on these ladies as, you know, people that have gotten to know them. They just want to compete at the highest levels. Once the play was over, they were on to the next. But I lastly say this, when it comes to racism and the hateful rhetoric and the statement that the WNBA is saying, I think it's important because at the end of the day, if you are truly a basketball fan, you would understand and agree. We have no space in our game for those types of comments, and also not, you know, putting more gasoline on the fire in a circumstance where we're here to appreciate the beautiful basketball.
This is what happens when you're obsessed with race. This is what happens when you are trained to eat, sleep, and breathe mythical racism. Your obsession clouds your judgment. It causes you to see things that do not exist. It makes you a believer in the world of make-believe. This is the reason that I came up with the term mythical racism all those years ago. In the vast majority of cases, especially when we are talking about the worldwide leader in woke, ESPN, and their most prized polished turd, the WNBA dump, in the vast majority of these cases, they are talking about stories of created racism. They read a fictional book like the autobiography of Jemele Hill, and they think it's real. The clip I just showed you, that aired on ESPN last week. It would be one thing if ESPN had someone on with common sense to refute these ridiculous claims by Monica McDougal and Chiney Ogwumike. To be honest with you, I don't even know why Monica McDougal is even there. At least Chiney played in the WNBA dump. At least she was a former #1 overall draft pick. Mo McDougal, she wasn't even qualified to play in the dump. You know how hard it is to not be selected to be a dump diver? Angel Reese can't make a layup while standing on an 8-foot ladder. That lack of skill wouldn't qualify her to make an AAU team. But in the WNBA, Angel Reese is called an all-star. Mo McDougal was not good enough to be drafted into that league. Yet for some reason, ESPN not only considers her to be a WNBA analyst, they also claim that she's an NBA analyst. Someone please make it make sense. It would be one thing if ESPN had someone on with common sense to refute these baseless allegations from Chiney Ogwumike and the unqualified Monica McDougal. But this is one of the problems at ESPN. They don't. Look, we all have biases. I have been fully transparent with my obvious bias against the WNBA. Uncle KC has never lied to you about this. I hate pretend basketball. I think the WNBA is full of overpaid, entitled players. This league consists of players who are incapable of generating profit. They're also incapable of generating points. You know why Angel Reese is able to get so many rebounds? She is rebounding her own shots. Her missed layups hit the bottom of the backboard and the miniature ball falls directly into her hands. This league is a flaming ass fire. It is some of the worst basketball imaginable. But even though I am heavily biased against this dump, I still try to be objective whenever possible. I'm not always objective, but I at least try. Last weekend, I complimented the New York Equality and the Indiana Felines for putting on a show on CBS. I even defended the WNBA on that controversial no call in the final seconds of the game and said that they made the right decision. One of the main problems at ESPN when it comes to the WNBA, and especially cases of mythical racism, there is no objectivity. It is guilty until proven innocent, and in some cases, even when you're proven innocent, your ass is still guilty. Because of their obsession with race, Chiney Ogwumike and Mo McDougal, they automatically assumed that Angel Reese was the ultimate victim. Never mind the fact that Angel Reese has already been busted in a race hoax before. Angel Reese is not a professional basketball player, which should be obvious to anyone who's seen her attempt to play. Angel Reese is a professional victim. But as is always the case at ESPN, you never let those pesky facts get in the way of pushing the agenda. And the agenda is Caitlin Clark fans are racist. But to her credit, at least Chiney Ogwumike had the decency to apologize for biting into this shit sandwich. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Let's go and get to the sponsor for today's video, my good friends at Sugar Mountain Trading. Do you struggle with back problems? Do you deal with minor aches and pains throughout your day and you don't want to go to the doctor because all the doctor's going to do is find something else wrong with you, or even worse, prescribe addictive medication that you just don't want to take? I hate going to the doctor, so does my wife, who actually deals with back pain, which is why she started using CBD lotions and oils from Sugar Mountain Trading. Now, this is not THC. It's not going to make you fail a drug test. These CBD lotions and oils, they are specifically designed for rapid pain relief. Like I said, my wife deals with nagging back pain from time to time. Tried over-the-counter stuff, we've tried the chiropractor, but none of it ever seems to work. Within 5 minutes of me applying CBD lotion from Sugar Mountain Trading, her pain was gone. I'm telling you, it's damn near magical. Sugar Mountain Trading also offers CBD bar soap that will keep you pain-free and smelling fresh at the same time. Bar soap comes in a variety of scents ranging from lavender all the way to cherry almond. But all CBD products offered at Sugar Mountain Trading, 100% natural, 100% free of THC. So click the link in the description below. Use my promo code BTL20, BTL20. Save 20% off your first purchase with Sugar Mountain Trading. You know, normally I am not big on public apologies. Hell, I don't really like apologies, period. Your words mean nothing. I don't give a damn that you're sorry. I'm more focused on what you're doing to correct it. In most cases, public apologies are meaningless. They're insincere. They're often the result of immense backlash. Public apologies are often selfish in nature, or they're forced. They're not really apologizing to you. They're apologizing to save their own careers. But with Chiney Ogwumike, I don't think that's the case here. I mean, seriously, where was the backlash against Chiney? Outside of the Ogwumike family, no one knows who in the hell she is. And even at family reunions, she is required to show ID at the door because Uncle Mike doesn't recognize her. So I am willing to give Chiney the benefit of the doubt here. I am willing to believe that her apology is sincere. But there was something that she said during this apology while she was trying to justify her actions, which to me kinda defeats the purpose of the apology. But anyway, there was something that she said during her apology that caught my attention. See if you can catch it. Watch for yourself.
I am sorry that my message was in the heat of the moment, because when I initially spoke on the topic, it really came from a place of care. It was based on firsthand conversations with people very close to the situation who raised real concerns, and they told me what they had experienced. And I felt like it was important and it was necessary to acknowledge those allegations and also voice those experiences. Now, in the process, however, I totally recognize that it may have impacted fans in a way that I did not intend, and I am sorry.
Did you catch it? I made these baseless claims of fake racism based on conversations with people who experienced it. My instincts told me this was wrong, but I chose to believe the victim, even though I knew they weren't really the victim. As soon as I heard that, my conspiracy radar went off. This is pure speculation on my part, but what I think Chiney was saying here is, I spoke to Angel Reese, and she told me she was the victim of mythical racism. Now, obviously, that does not absolve Chiney because she should have known this was bullshit. I know it's hard to be objective at ESPN when you're surrounded by people who believe in mythical racism, but this situation, it was not hard to figure out. For most of us, we knew as soon as these allegations were released that they were false. And part of me believes ESPN knew they were false, and they chose to pretend to believe it was real. Part of me believes that Chiney and others at ESPN were encouraged to run with this story. Think about it. ESPN is the primary broadcast partner of the pretend basketball and the WNBA dump. Executives at ESPN, they're not stupid. I'm sure they know the on-court product in the WNBA is substandard. Hell, substandard is too kind. The on-court product in the WNBA, it is absolute trash. It's garbage. Now, with that being the case, you have got to find ways to keep people interested. You have to find ways to keep people talking about pretend basketball. How have they done that? By creating stories of mythical racism. The WNBA was pushing fake racism years before Caitlin Clark came into the league. But once Caitlin Clark was drafted, it gave them the perfect story. The white girl versus the rest of the league. White privilege versus the ultimate victims. Have you noticed? The WNBA has never tried to distance themselves from mythical racism. If anything, they embrace it. 5 years ago, Adam Silver was interviewed by Rachel Nichols before the NBA Finals, and he promised that the NBA was going to distance themselves from politics. Now, this was 2 or 3 months after the league had embraced the woke wiener. Adam Silver noticed that ratings were in the pooper, and he promised that the NBA was going to get back to basketball. Now, to his credit, Adam Silver kept that promise. But here's the problem for the WNBA. They've never made that promise because they know it's a promise they can't keep. This dump is all smoke and mirrors. It's an illusion. The WNBA is quick to embrace gimmicks because they know they cannot sell the product by itself. I'm not taking anything away from Caitlin Clark. She's a dynamic player. But one of the reasons, not the only reason, but one of the reasons that Caitlin Clark has exploded in popularity, it's because of the racial component. When you think about it, it's a brilliant strategy. It's obviously worked. Caitlin Clark has brought awareness. She has brought mainstream attention to a league that's never been in the mainstream. But again, the underlying problem remains. Caitlin Clark has brought awareness to a bad product. Eventually, this gimmick is going to become stale, or worse, Caitlin Clark has a long-term injury. We are already seeing what happens when Caitlin Clark is out. Ticket prices are plummeting. Ratings and attendance will follow that decline. I have been saying this for years about the dump. There will come a point when you will be expected to perform. There will come a point when the gimmick expires, the sympathy runs out, and the entire league, not just Caitlin Clark, the entire league will be expected to perform, and they know they're not capable. Give me your thoughts on this. Chiney Ogwumike apologizes for spreading mythical racism. We rarely see an apology like this from someone at ESPN. Chiney deserves credit for having the courage to admit that she was wrong. Now, that being said, I do think it's possible that the WNBA is trying to monetize mythical racism, mainly because it's one of the only ways they can get people to pay attention to this dump of a league. Do you think that's the case? Let me know. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later.